I don't know why, but you are watching the Madness Comic Network. Are you mental? Good morning. How you guys like my new intro? Do you like it? With the coffee, with the Tuesday morning coffee brew? Yeah, the thing with the stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I did it yesterday. I made that. I made an ad. You like it? Thanks, Lou. I'm still working on my outro because it's going to be something else. So working on that. Hopefully I can get it done today or tomorrow. Path of the Pale Rider issue number 6. My books are due anytime today. That rocks. And no, Matthew, I was first. LOL. So book should be today. I can't wait to get my hands on them. The only thing I have not gotten is the Funko Pops. Those are shipping today or tomorrow. So if you have a Funko Pop, Yours will be going out as soon as I get those in the mail. But I saw the new pop, which is Jimmy covered in blister beetles, and it's so freaking funny. I'm gonna post a picture of it on my Facebook after the show, so y'all can see it. But it's hilarious. We're starting to get into like the really fun Funkos. Next one, I can't wait for the next one. You'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see. But anyways, I'm excited to have a new guest to the show today. By the way, if you guys are interested in being on the Tuesday Morning Brew in 2025, please reach out to me. I only have a few dates left. There's one in October, one in September. November is open and December is half gone. So there's only a few dates left. There's a handful of dates left for the year. So, but 2026 can always open up too. So anyway, so if you want to be on the brew, just let me know. I'll send you the Calendly link. But plan ahead, because right now I think the earliest date I have is the last week of September. So today's guest is new to the show. I'd like to welcome E.A. Brown. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Welcome to the Tuesday Morning Brew.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so excited to have you. And yes, guys, we're going to be on Roku before the end of the year. There's more coming on that. So, EA, we were talking and you say it's about to rain where you're at. Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Georgia.
It's kind of weird. I'm actually grew up in Pittsburgh. That's my home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I grew up there. My IT job, I just got married. My IT job, I had an opportunity to go to San Francisco or Atlanta. My bride, and then my wife, we've been married for going on 25 years now. She always wanted to live in Atlanta, and she's like, "We're moving to Atlanta." And
that's like, there's so much that goes on in Atlanta. Like the movie scene is in Atlanta right now.
Yeah, it's we moved in 2000.
Yeah,
that's when the music industry was big at that time.
Yes,
and it was kind of like everything was just happening. Now movies is just like crazy now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you ever sneak onto a set and just like, you ever do any extra work? Because I know that they look for extras too.
I wish I could, but my time is limited. I do, like I said, my first job is I'm an IT director, IT analyst for a healthcare firm, global healthcare firm. So that keeps me kind of tied down. And then, of course, with the comics and everything that we're doing now, with my first comic book coming out, DEATHBLADE, which I'm really excited about. I'm definitely excited to share that with you and your audience today.
Yeah.
We got a lot going, and of course, my daughters keep me busy.
Very cool.
Being a father.
There's some stuff in the Walking Dead store at their set location. Really? Huh. And good morning, George Medina. Thank you. Hottest coffee around here on the Tuesday Morning Brew. Oh, so EA, so you moved in 2000. Now, take us back all the way to the beginning. We want to hear your origin story of how you got into comics. We all come. Yeah, I know. Now, are you a villain? Are you a hero? You're not an NPC, obviously, but my point is everybody comes to this weird journey of indie comics in such a different manner. And I really would love to hear how you got here. Like, how'd you start? What are your influences? And then what ultimately made you pull the trigger and do this yourself?
Yeah. It actually starts when I was 7 years old. And I'm grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Those are the golden years of comics. And I do not take that from me or anywhere. Everyone's, Jack Kirby I'm a huge Jack Kirby fan.
Yeah.
New Gods, the thing that I liked about the books during that time was the originality. The art was just amazing, and it just popped. And for me, being, living during that time, there weren't that many Black heroes for us at that time.
Right.
So, when Superman, Christopher Reeves is my first Superman, he came out, everyone was putting on their Superman suit. They was going crazy. My friend, and me, we were always tight. We were always getting in trouble in school. Teachers be calling us, and we're both dreaming that we're doing something else. So yes, I was that
Yeah.
kid that's on the board writing, "I will pay attention in class." So, I
Right.
mean, I think she really, she really had it for me. I think I can understand was I was always getting in trouble, but my friend
Yeah.
wouldn't get in trouble.
Why?
Really, I think, well, Miss Cousin was a black teacher, and she had a certain way that she wanted black students to be, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
And so she couldn't understand why I wasn't paying attention to her. And the reason is I just wasn't fascinated in what you were telling. You
Mhm.
know, me and my friend, we had our comic books and we reading them in class. We sit in the back,
Mhm.
we be reading, and we'd just be all over the place. And it was Halloween, and children still do that today.
Of course.
And we, had our first suit. My mom bought me my Superman suit, and
Yeah.
I was proud. I was happy. And he was Batman. And we went into class, and he saw my suit, and I don't really think he meant anything of it. But when he said, "Ed, you can't be Superman. You're black." Now that was the
Ah,
first time someone had said that to me. And it hurt me to the core because I was like, what? Because,
it's a
I
fictional
didn't,
character.
yeah, I didn't see anything of it at that time because I
Right.
was fascinated by just Superman as a person and who he was. I mean, he's an alien to me.
Right. Right.
You know, let's be real about it.
Right.
You know, he saw it that way. And he hurt me so bad. I went home and my mother, like all mothers always do this, they always take the bad name, they blow the hand, try to, she
Mhm.
said, "Baby, you can be whatever you want to
You can
be."
be
And that
whatever
was
you
the
wanna be.
day, that was my outcoming. I said, you know what? I'm going to make a comic book and
That's
it's going to
awesome.
be for us. It's going to be for
So
everybody.
at 7, you were
Yes.
determined.
Mhm.
Now, because this is interesting to me because some guests on the show have said like they first thought of their characters at that young age.
Mhm.
And some of them are, like I drew ducks and I drew, other characters and then eventually grew into this superhero character. Did
Mhm.
you come up with your superhero character, like just the concept of them at that age?
I had come up with so many ideas,
Yeah.
and my mom was, and I have to give it to my mom. My mother is more liberal than my father. My father being a pastor, I was a PK kid.
Yeah. Okay.
So my dad was very strict. Certain things you didn't bring into the house like this.
Right.
My mother broke every rule possible. She's like, "Look, you guys can do whatever you want as long as not nothing crazy."
Yeah.
And she told me to write it down, Lori. And she said, "Write down your stories." I didn't
Yeah.
before. I could tell stories, and I was good at it, but I didn't write it down. And so it was a lot.
Mhm.
I talk to my mom every day. She's been a part of my journey, and I've written. I would say my first one I've written was when I was in third grade.
That's awesome.
I did it as a almost, but it was nothing compared to what we're doing now because I was more into the sci-fi, Star Trek, 1999. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we're going back some ways. Yes, folks, black and white screens. I tell my kids that they don't believe it, but yeah. But that's my world. That's where I grew up on.
Mhm.
Um, so I didn't at that time comprehend it. I knew I wanted to write it, and I did write. I was really into comics. Um, some of the comics I read, like the New Gods, Jack Kirby was huge. I was a huge fan of that. Captain America was actually my first comic book that I bought. America
Really?
took me to store, yes. I liked Falcon. That,
Mhm.
you know, kind of captivated me. And so I have a lot of books from Captain America, but also a huge Ghost Rider fan. And
Yes.
one comic book I think you probably would think, you like that one? Firestorm. I really think DC has not taken advantage of Firestorm. I think
I have
he's
never heard of Firestorm. I'm okay, just so you know about me, I came into comics as an adult. Like, I was in college, and the first thing that I read was Who Watches the Watchmen. Okay, I was
Oh, nice.
never like I miss
Nice.
all of that as in
Yeah.
my childhood. Hey Jeff,
Yes.
see you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when people are like talking about old school comics, and I'm like, I have very little knowledge about a lot of, old school.
Well, they did it on CW when they had them on what's that show? They had all this. I can't think of the name of the show right now, but he's a character that has multiple people in one body.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
he's like fire and stuff like that. He's a really interesting character, and
Oh,
that
what
was
is the
one of
name
the.
of it?
I can't
That
think of it.
show
It was
where
on CW.
it was like the some of the bad guys, and then like some of the spin-off from Arrow, wasn't it? Like
Yeah,
Black Canary and
yeah, yeah.
Helpless. Yeah, what
It
was
was a spinoff from when they did Green Arrow, and they did
William Russell knows.
I can't think of the name of the show because I see it, but I can't think of the name of it right now. But it
CW.
had all the
A superhero show.
on CW, and it was really good. They had
Legends of Tomorrow.
yes,
Isn't
Legends.
that it? All right.
Yes,
It's like they had a bunch of people in it.
yes, and they had Firestorm on there, and
Oh, gotcha.
I really felt that they really missed on some opportunities there, and so
Hmm.
that's the type of world that I kind of grew up in. GI Joe, cartoon, Spider-Man, and people. I would tell you this: yes, there was a Spider-Man show. There was live.
Yes, it's so campy. You know what's funny though? Even worse than that one is the Spider-Woman cartoon on
Yes.
Disney Plus. Like my
Oh,
kids
wow.
found it and we were watching it, and I was just like, wow. I was like, this is bad. Where they're like, Aunt Jessica can't do that. She should go back to the kitchen. And I was like, oh my God. Like, some of these did not age well. Put them.
Yeah, that's kind of where I grew up on, and horror was one of my favorites.
Horror.
Yes, I love
Oh,
Dracula, the Bride of Dracula, the
yeah.
Blob.
The Blob. It's
You
like, how
know,
can that even be scary? But then people are idiots.
when you're little, when you're little, and just the thing that really I liked about it was the environment. That how
Yes.
he shot it. It was so dark, and it just be like, oh, you're scary. I think the most scary one was, the vampire ones,
Yeah.
Count Dracula and stuff and all that, werewolves and stuff like that. And me and my brothers, three of us, we would go jump in our parents' bed right after we see it. Like, what you guys doing?
I'm not scared.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
I
God.
mean, that's the era that I grew up in. And it's different today.
Mhm.
Because me and my brothers, we would sit. There's certain shows that we would watch. Like when we come home from school, we're watching X-Men. We're watching, we're watching, different shows that kind of helped us. As we grew up, we kind of caught on to that. And
Mhm.
the stories then it was different. Walt Disney,
Yeah.
Omaha. Families sit down and watch television and watch those things.
Yes.
Those are things that we don't really do that much because we're all fast paced now. And even I
Yeah.
myself, my daughters want to say, "Hey Ed, come here, Dad, watch the show with us." And I go and I watch shows with them when I can. But the thing that really captivated me was the story. I've always said
Yes.
it's the story. If you can have art, but if you don't have the story, it doesn't work.
I 100% agree because I'm also a writer, but
Mhm.
I think that's, it's so important to have a good balance. You got to have that art to get people like to catch their eye,
Mhm.
right? To get them to open the book, and the story is what keeps them there.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And that's the thing, when I grew up being that 7-year-old,
Mhm.
and we had these, little book reports we were writing, I was writing comic, verbiage, format. And my teacher, Miss Cousins, oh my
She
God,
did not like that.
she hated me. She's like, "You're not gonna make it. That's not how you write." And she was like, "You are not ever gonna make it." She says, "Not like that." And she was so adamant. She was just mean. And I couldn't understand it. It was me and this other kid, Richard. We were always staying after school. She's like, "You're going to stand after school and you're going to write on the board. I will
Oh
keep your
man.
license." I was like, "What the heck?" So then it's kind of humorous because I'm that type of guy. If you say something, I will definitely make you look stupid. So my mother said, she brought my mother in. She says, "Your son is just not catching it. He's not getting it." But what she didn't understand was I was an imaginative kid who was just enamored with imagination and storytelling. And if she had enough openness to see that I had the talent, she could have helped groom me to do
Mhm.
it the right way. So she went there, Lori, and it was hilarious. She said, "There's something wrong with your son. I don't think he's,
Who
you
says
know,
that to a parent?
yeah." She said that. She says, because back in the time they had like the fourth, the third grade, and then they
Uh-huh.
had second and third. So that's for the slow kids. So they put you to second and third. So she went there. She called herself being slick. So she says, "I think there's something wrong with him. Put him in a second and third grade because he's not paying attention. He's not listening to me." So I went there graciously.
You and
Okay.
William would get along. He's the same way.
Yeah, I went there graciously.
Like, I love when people tell me I can't do something.
And that was the most easiest class. I was getting A's and B's in the class.
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, "Don't worry about it. You're done. You can do whatever you want." So you know what I was doing? I was writing stories
Writing
and I
stories,
was
drawing comics.
imaginative, being in another different world. And after a while, the teacher that was there was like, "Look, I'm not challenging you. It's not working. Take this test and we'll see where you're at." Well, of course,
See,
I scored high.
I
So
think that that's such a problem with some, a lot of schools are cookie cutter. We do math, we do science, we do geography, but those kids that there's so many opportunities outside of like, have I ever used high math? No, I'm
mm-mm.
do just fine without it. Thank you. You know what I mean? I've never had to find the area of a square or cube. You know what I
They're not
mean?
teaching.
Do you know what I
They're not
mean? Like, we've
teaching
spent all
them.
this time teaching that stuff when you could be developing that child to be a writer, to be a creative, to do something outside the box that, taking the map test isn't gonna quantify how
Oh
smart
yeah.
they are.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Mike said. My 13-year-old said, "Hey, Dad, we're doing this chemistry test. Hey, help me with this." And I'm like, "I don't even know what that's it."
Right.
They're like, "What?" And they're not teaching them to be kids. That's the thing that I told my mom. I really appreciate her for allowing me to be who I am.
Yes.
And she saw that. And that teacher who saw that I was in the grade, she realized, "You don't belong here. Okay, we're going to
Right,
send you
right.
back up." And of
You're
course, they
like,
sent
"Who
me back
put you
up.
here? Like, this was obviously a mistake." But
It was.
what I heard her what you said was she tested me for other areas to see where I belong, and that's what that first teacher missed, eh? Because it
Exactly.
was like, "You don't fit in this cookie cutter class with all these kids. You must be slow." But it's like, you're
Exactly.
just not paying
And
attention.
this wasn't it because you just wasn't catching my attention.
Right,
I
right.
was listening, being Captain Kirk, um,
Yeah,
being Incredible Hawk, or being
right.
something else, Superman, of course. Those are the things that I was dreaming about. And I passed the test, Lori. And then, of course, they had to take me back to her class, which was like,
Oh,
when she,
no.
when she realized that, she was mad. She was upset. And to that day, every day in class, I would stay at the classes. "You're writing on the board."
Oh, come
That was the
on.
first thing she did. And I just want to tell you, Miss Cousins, I did become successful.
Of
And
course.
I did make it. Okay. I did make it.
Yeah, hopefully
And I
she's
can
hotter
read
enough.
and
I
write
don't
now.
know if she watches this show, EA,
Well,
so
she's no longer with us. But if any of her family are still alive, hey, Eddie, he
eat
came
this.
he
No,
came out fine. All right. I wasn't on a short bus. Okay. And it's nothing against that.
oh my
She
god.
was wrong. She was wrong. And
Alright,
that's
so let's fast forward a little bit. So, you got married. I mean, like, when you were growing up, go to college,
Mhm.
um, did you work on comics then too, or was
I
it just kinda
I
like
wrote, I did write a few, but of course, when you're in college, you're writing tons of term
mhm,
papers and you're just totally destroyed. You're sitting there
yeah,
and it's just like, wow, I didn't really have a chance to really write, but I was always into my comics.
mhm.
So I
What
have
were you reading?
Dude, I was reading Switchblade. I was reading, my regular favorite comics that I loved.
Yeah.
Um, and then as you get into time, and it was kind of interesting because when I went to college, I took a writing class, and there was a teacher, Miss Debbie Brown, Professor Brown, who's with us, and
This is
love
what
that.
your mom did too. Yeah, that's
Yeah, my
awesome.
mom, yeah, awesome. And she didn't give A's. She did not believe in giving A's. She was one of the hardest teachers in English. And I took that class. People was like, "You're going to take that class?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take it. It's an elective. I'm getting ready to get out,
Mhm.
graduate." And I thought it was easy because I love writing.
Right.
And so I wrote a term paper on Malcolm X. And everyone else didn't get good grades. For some reason, she was just tough. And
Dang.
she took me by the side. She said, "Mr. Brown, I need to talk to you after class." And I was like, "Oh, shoot."
I'm in trouble.
So, I did something, right? So everyone gets class. She says, "I read your book. The words, the way you said it, I was just inspired." And
That's
I'm sitting there
awesome.
looking at her like, I look at her like,
Are
I'm
you joking?
you know,
Oh my
I was
god.
looking at her like, wow. And
Yeah,
she says, "You really need to consider writing." And
that's awesome.
you know what I did as a jerk? I told her she was crazy. I said,
No.
crazy.
Well, she was right. You know what I mean? It's
She
like,
was
oh,
right. She was,
dang it.
see, at that time, I wasn't prepared for that.
You were that guy, you ruined the curve, EA. You were that
Yes.
guy.
But
Everybody else was looking at you like, "What?"
yeah, I told her, I said, "You are nuts." Because, at that time, Dell computers came out.
Yeah.
IT was big. I was in the marketing and I was doing IT. And so I was like, "Hey, there's going to be this." And then she hit me with that. And, no one's never said that to me. So I wasn't prepared for it. So when she said
Mhm.
that, and I was mean to her, and you know what, Mrs. Professor Brown,
Sorry.
she's no longer with us. Her family seeing this, she was
Sorry.
right. She was right. I tell people this. If I would go back in time, I would be an English teacher.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
I would be an English teacher. I love writing.
Okay, well, loving writing
Mhm.
and being a teacher are 2
Two
different
different
things.
things. But the thing is, I feel that as an English teacher, I feel that our younger generation are not giving options. They think
Well,
they think they think that they feel that if you're doing something in the arts that you can't make money. That's not true.
that is not true.
That is so far from the truth. And I feel that as teachers, you want to teach them how to write and articulate. We get that. We understand that. But if you see someone who is gifted, I want to be able to be that mentor to help
Yes.
them get to that next level. And that's what she did. But at that time, I was not in my proper right mind to receive what she had said to me.
Yeah.
I was young. I was young. And if you want to say if that was a time that I lost it, then I would say yes.
Yeah. I feel you. I mean, that's common. I hear that a lot on people's journey where it's like inspired to do this thing young and then
Mhm.
life kind of takes precedence. It's like we're finding our careers, we're meeting our spouses,
Exactly. You fall into life.
raising kids, exactly, falling into life, and it's not
That
until
grind.
things quiet down. A lot of people were triggered by COVID. We had all this extra
Mhm.
time when we were at home and anxious and couldn't
That's
sleep, and things came out of that time,
that's when it
which is
changed for me.
interesting to me. Is that when it
When COVID came, that's when it changed for me.
Yeah.
I was working, had my dream job to travel the world and be a salesperson, IT salesperson. I had my dream job, and I
Yeah.
was in Miami at the airport on my way to Brazil, and I wasn't feeling good.
Oh,
And
no.
at that time, I didn't know what it was. You become a workaholic. You don't, as
Yeah.
men, we don't take care of ourselves. You know, we try to act all tough and stuff. And then I knew I had a vacation coming up. My wife the thing was kind of funny. My wife and them, they take vacations without me.
What?
Yes, they did.
All
I
right,
would be
okay.
working because they would say, "Dad, you're no fun because you're always working," and that was
Oh,
true. That was true. I was a workaholic, so I went there, and I went home, and my arm was black,
that's
and
not
I
right.
felt like I wasn't feeling well, and it was the year before COVID came, and I went to the doctor, and he says, "Your blood pressure is like spiked." It was like, "Why are you walking? How are you
Oh
walking?"
no.
And he looked at me and he was like, "You don't look good." And then he said, "You're about a couple of minutes from a major heart attack and stroke." And he says, "You are done working." He says, "I'm not clearing you. Don't ask. You're done." So when he said that to me, he said, "You need to find something else."
Mm,
So it shows how the Lord works. My best friend I went to school with in college, he's an award winning gospel artist, and he's
oh,
done
cool.
movies, he's done different things, and on his entertainment group. And he was like, "Ed, I'm doing some things in the movies and stuff like that. Why don't you come and write? Because you always was into writing and you were in your comic books, so let's do something."
That's cool.
So he touched me with that, and right when I was about to do it, on the San Diego Comic Con, there was a comic book group called Comic Republic.
Okay.
They went to San Diego Comic Con and blew up.
Cool.
Blew up. You know, they came up with their character. Everyone was like shocked. And I was about to do my thing, and then I saw them, and I was really inspired by them. And I said, Jide Martin, who's the creator and CEO of the company, we signed them and represented them and helped them get their first deal, TV
Cool.
deal.
Yeah.
And so while we were doing that, I was like, okay, they got their thing. Let me do my thing. Let me go out and let me start writing. Let me do what I need to do. And then that's when I came up with DEATHBLADE.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we started writing. It was doing COVID. And we were trying to do a TV series out of it. And
Yes.
we had talked with several Amazon, Netflix. We had, talked to them. But, when COVID came, it just like wiped everything.
Everything. Yeah. Shut
Wiped
down.
everything out, shut down everything. And so I said, bump all that. I don't need to.
Right.
I'm doing a comic book.
That's kind of what happened with me. I had written a movie and I was like, I don't know what to do with it. Right. And we were starting, well, I'd written in 2018 and like we moved to Texas and like things were just not settled. And
Right.
so that was my husband. And he said that he's familiar with Kickstarter. He's more into comic books than I was at that time. And he was just like, turn into a comic book, Laurie. And I was like, you want to write, sir. And that to me was freedom, right?
Yes.
Because you don't have a CEO or a director, executive producer telling you what you can and can't do with your own story at that point.
Exactly.
Freedom.
Exactly. It was like, Lord, it's like the lights like came on, and it was like I was
This is where
running
we're
crazy.
going.
I was looking at my comic books. And then, of course, the bad thing my mother is one of the most sweetest women. Mother, I love you. Thank God I love you. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I had a very good collection of comic books, and I had a lot of the in television game, the vector game. My parents, we did not lack for anything. We had our stuff. We had the portable football game, used to play.
Yes.
I had that, and then they had the single, the double. We had that. I had the tiger. I had everything. We took care of our stuff.
Yeah.
Our stuff was, and those things are collectible items.
Nice.
You know what my mother did? Kid came in.
She put them in the garage sale.
No, a kid came in because we had our stuff wrapped up nice. I had all my comic books. I had over thousands of comic
She
books.
gave them to a person?
She gave it to him for free. And to this day, I'm sitting here and I'm like, Mother, do you know what you just did? Because I'm looking at the games they're talking about.
No, she didn't know. She didn't know. That's her saving grace because she didn't know. But can you?
She was being nice. She was being nice.
Gave away your collection.
She gave away all my collections. My my games, the first electronic mobile games,
Oh,
handheld
no.
games. I had all of them. I had every game for Atari, the original. I
Yeah.
had everything. It was meant in television. Victor was the first one where they had to, you bought the screen and everything like that. We had every game. You look at that now; those things are worth thousands.
Oh,
I'm sitting
no.
there and I'm just like, Mother, no, you didn't. And I
Hopefully that kid appreciated what
he
he
did.
got.
He did. He did. He reminds me every day. He reminds me all the
He
time. Like,
does.
your mother gave me a great collection. I was like, yeah, she did. That was my collection.
You're like, can I at least come visit it? Can I at least, come? No? All right.
No, that's not gonna happen. That's gonna happen. He has his collection. I've been trying to buy it from him, but he won't sell it back to me.
What?
I don't blame him. I don't.
Trying to buy it back. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's crazy, but as
Terrible.
like I said, COVID opened up so many doors,
Yes.
and it was the first time, people didn't know us at that time. And at that time, us going to the different streaming studios, because at that time, streaming was still relatively new.
Yes.
Trying to get our storytelling. People they liked it, but they was like, look, studios are closed, nothing's really moving right now. So I knew immediately that we're going to be stuck with everything back. So everything
Backlog.
that
Yeah.
we've done is going to be backlogged. So I was like, why should I wait for them?
Right.
Write better than half.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't, because not only was there COVID, then there was the writer's strike. Like,
Oh yeah, the writer's strike was even going
it
on.
came
I
like
thought that
right
was
after
going
it.
on
No, it was
forever.
like one after the other. And it was like
Yeah.
nothing. Like, we're still not getting quality stuff. We're still not.
No, well, I think they're trying to get rid of certain stuff. And then I think one of the problems is that you
Tax write-off.
the CEO the CEOs that are, or the people that make decisions, they're number crunchers.
Yes.
They look at what was successful, and they have this thing where, well, if this is successful, they gauge it from that rather than gauge from originality. And that's why you look at the movie Sinners that's blowing up right now.
Gosh, I need to see that.
Oh, it's good.
There's a bunch of new stuff that's coming out that I want to see, but that's at the top of my list.
Sinners is amazing horror flick.
Right?
I mean,
we've talked about this on other shows, EA, but it's like, because we went to more streaming instead of physical release, like Blu-ray. That's why we're not getting original work anymore, because you could recap some of your investment on the movie theater and then on the DVD release. So
it's genius,
right?
It's genius. I can't.
You don't get it anymore, and so that's why it's reboot, rehash, recycle.
Right. And hey, let's be honest with you. We all have 80-inch screen TVs.
Yes.
We have our own, movies,
we have our own movie studio
in our homes.
Why do I need to spend $45 a person to go to the theater?
If I could spend $45 going to the movies with my kids and their friends,
as a group, I'm talking about each. Right. And then it's like, and then I want popcorn. It's like, then you got to get the collector bucket. Like, give me a break.
Yeah. They don't like
popcorn.
Like I said, my kids, they don't like my daughters. My wife said every time we go out with them, we're spending $300-400.
Yes.
And then of course, they bring their friends, and none of them have money. And I'm looking like, she didn't bring
popcorn. See? But that's part of the problem, and that's why all the good stuff is in indie. Because
it is.
We said nuts to everybody else. You're not giving me what either I'm losing rights, you're making deadlines, that don't work for me. You're changing my content and bringing in ghost writers, or you're shelving things and I can never, work on my own IP again. Forget it.
Right.
And we're all here doing this. We're crowdfunding. We're releasing our stories. If Netflix wants to show up later and offer you, $15 million for DEATHBLADE, sure.
Yeah. I would never sell. And here's the reason why I learned something. I feel as creators, you need to keep something for legacy. You need to keep something for your families, because you know more about it than other people. because they look at it as a monetary. They're not looking at it as passion or family heirloom.
Right.
That's one of the things that I want people to understand about DeathBlade is that you're going to get the passion, you're going to get the story, but you're going to get some amazing art. And that's, as I was going through that process and I was looking at Kickstarter, what got me to get the story out and get into Kickstarter, I was doing my research. Kickstarter came in. Kickstarter was big during the COVID because everyone was buying.
Yep.
And I think the first one that got me was Wesley Snipes' Kickstarter caught attention, and Kevin Gourlay and Melanie Gourlay, they own Ink Studios. They do some of the biggest Kickstarters out there. And I did my research and I said, well, this seems like these people are all doing original work. So there's definitely a medium for guys like me to create something. If I create something, then people will gravitate to it. And so I did that. And then I reached out to Kevin and I did my homework. And I had to give it to Kevin. He has been patient with me. It took us 2 years to get this project out.
He's like, let's go.
Yeah.
I know Kevin. I know I've worked with Kevin too. So I know he's like, are you ready? Let's go. Are you ready?
Yeah, he kept saying that to me. I said, Kevin, you're not ready. You're not ready yet. Or we have the script and it just didn't work,
Yeah.
My first partner who came back, Phil Maddox, when we first came up with DeathBlade, we had the suit where he would put on the suit, and we was like, that ain't gonna scare nobody. And we said, we've seen that before.
Try again.
Yeah, that's not gonna work, because we was like, no, that's not gonna work. And then we had another person who he was more logical than imaginative. One of the things that people are going to see is the imagination that we want to show within the horror genre. We wanted to create something. And one of the things is that I tell people is this ain't any superhero person. We're not doing superhero. He's not an anti-hero. He's just a person that has been given abilities and is put into the situation. He's either going to swim or he's going to drown. And so we wanted to keep it more into a realistic approach.
Interesting. All right, let's dig in. I want to watch the video and then I want to hear your elevator pitch and then I want to dig into what this DeathBlade is. So, all right, guys, let's watch it. Okay, that is an amazing trailer. That's a beautiful trailer.
Thank you. Thank you. I got to give Kevin and I got to give them their flowers.
Fallout Studios set what it said at the end. That was killer. That was killer. Grant, you came in at a great time. Did you see that trailer? Oh my god. Oh my god. Just saying.
Yeah. They really knocked it in. They knocked it out the park. And
yes.
Kevin said I was being too perfect. And I think sometimes you can get like that. Sometimes you're like, Kevin, man.
What do you expect? It's my baby. It's my first comic. Of course I'm going to be picky.
Yeah. And then, it was funny because the beginning part, I said I liked how Marvel did theirs, and I said I kind of
Yes.
want that, but I wanted to show pictures, flashes,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then he did it, and I didn't think
Right?
when Kevin showed it to me at first, I was like, oh my god, I I looked like I was about to cry, and
Oh,
I'm like, this is nuts. I said I would watch if I see a video like that. I'm
I would
definitely
watch
getting.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Be
that's kind of
clicking on
how we
that.
kind of looked at it. One of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to give you it's not
A
your
snippet, a
original
taste.
comic book. It's more of a cinema type comic book.
Yeah, okay. All right. So tell us the story. Well, give us the elevator pitch, the quick pitch for people that are scrolling by. Make it quick.
Okay. Well, this is a story of a Navy SEAL. His name is Ambrose. He does a routine mission that normally nothing happens. It's something that they normally do when they go through this mission. But this mission, this time that they go on, everything horrible happens.
Shoot.
He ends up losing everybody. His whole team gets wiped out. He's the only living survivor. So
Mm.
as he is trying to figure out what is going on, what happened to his team, something much darker, much sinister, much savage is happening underneath. And as
Mm.
he goes home and he's trying to find out what's going on, he realizes that he's entered into a paranormal, savage, diabolical world of supernatural villains, monsters,
Oh, no.
vampires, demons, hybrids.
Okay, you want elevator music? Hold please. We're gonna feed the ducks. Okay, continue.
So as he enters to this world, he realizes that this is a whole different world. And as he's dealing with it, certain characters that you guys can see, his wife plays a role in it. NJ plays a role where she's a supportive wife. And then, of course, you're going to meet new players and characters that will play a role. The mysterious villain, or whatever you want to call him, they see him killing people, but they don't know if he's bad or good.
Mm.
And
So does he get powers just from showing up in this place, or did he do something?
No.
Look at that corner, guys.
One of the things that I would tell people is, for the first issue that we did, it's the beginning. We wanted to scare the freaking hell out of you, pretty much.
It looks scary.
Yeah, we wanted to do that, but we also wanted him to go through his journey. But that doesn't mean that he's DEATHBLADE.
Right. It takes time. You got to develop the character. You can't just drop him into superhero.
I'm serious. That doesn't mean Ambrose is DEATHBLADE. He could be somebody else.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, and also let people know DEATHBLADE is not one. He's a legion.
Wait a minute. Are we going back to that Firefox, what's the name of that character that you were like, they didn't utilize this character well?
Firestorm.
Yeah, that one. So this is your version of. Okay, so here's the vibes I'm getting just from a precursory glance at and listening to you. I get Moon Knight vibes. I get Spawn vibes, and I'm getting, like you said, it's Firestorm vibes. Huh?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I'm grateful that you said that. All those were references.
Yes, just reference.
But when you read the book,
of course, it's its own thing. Of course.
Right. And I want people to think that, because I think I want you to come and conceive of that, because it's so much more. One of the things that Chuck Fano.
This looks terrifying, EA. What the heck?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. DEATHBLADE is a individual or thing that kills evil. Evil is drawn to them. I'm not talking about the evil like, oh, I stole candy from the candy store. No, I'm talking about diabolical evil.
Yes.
Evil that just, like a spawn came down he will kill Spawn.
Really?
Spawn will be drawn to him. They are drawn to evil. So as they are killing evil, they're killing demons, they're killing vampires, but there's more to what those vampires are.
Interesting.
And
So
it's
there's
not just,
vampires in this world?
yes, there are.
Oh my gosh. What about, I mean, are we going to fight? Because we were talking about horror and you were talking about how vampires, what about werewolves,
Oh,
zombies?
all of them will play a role. But here's the thing:
Oh,
they're
okay.
created by something else greater. Now, that's a spoiler.
Uh-oh.
That's a
You
spoiler.
heard it on the Tuesday Morning Brew, guys.
Yes, it's a
Exclusive.
spoiler. Yeah.
Wait, don't we need an exclusive button?
Yeah.
I don't got it. We just got this. Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Yeah. So yeah, this is something more. As you know, the beginning of the book is we're actually telling you the middle.
Oh. Okay.
We're going in the middle, and then we're starting in the middle.
I like that. I've done that.
Yes.
I did that. Yep. So I feel you, where it's like you drop everybody into the terribleness of the now, and then you'll have a chance to be like, but this is how it all started and how we got here.
But to also let you know, let your audience know, we've already started work on issues 2 and 3. We already got
Awesome.
into that. One of the things that we also, you know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And you know, when they started the movie, people don't know Star Wars, the original movie is actually the middle of the movie. It's not the beginning.
Yes.
So that's kind of how we wanted to do. But here's the thing that we said. We weren't trying to do flashbacks. We were able to take the story and push it forward. That's another spoiler.
Okay.
So there's
you're all full of spoilers on my show.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's, you know, let them, you know, get their heads kind of wrapped around that. But, you know, this right here you're looking at, this is Oscar Pinta.
I'm sorry. Just Lou Pond being Lou Pond.
Does cancel out the evil.
Eh? No, I think he still gets it in the end, Lou.
No. This artwork is done by Oscar Pinta from DC Comics.
Oh
That's
my
one of
gosh.
our parent covers, and it's beautiful. I love it. The other cover that you saw with the sword, that's done by Leo Calcaterra. He's from Image. He's been doing all the Image work, and it's beautiful. And it's a wraparound too.
Go big or go home, I guess.
Yeah, this, you know, one of the things that, you know, I wanted to do when we were doing this story, like I told you, it took us 2 years, Laurie, to get get the script right. Now I know people are like, that's kind of crazy, Ed. But
No, I get that.
I believe in development. I believe you know, you don't just throw anything out there. If you're going to do it right.
Yes.
And you know, we went through many writers when we were going through this process, and I was driving Kevin crazy. You know, he's like, "You're not done yet." I was like, "Man, we're getting there. Wait, we're getting there." And once I tell you what helped us, the suit.
The suit.
There's a group out of UK called Art of Direction by Virginia. Mm-hmm. They do all the work for Star Wars films, DC films. I was introduced to them by one of the guys, one of the top producers. He's done everything. Godzilla, all the Star Wars films. Faraz Hamid, he's amazing. One of the things that was kind of funny was, you know, he was like, "Okay, Ed, she's not gonna give me no discounts." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, that's fine." You know,
it is what it is.
I'm gonna pay dearly. But there's no AI on this. We're not using AI.
Great, I love to
hear. You always know we don't believe in AI. Okay,
I'm with you.
You don't do that. But they took my idea.
Is that an eyeball?
Of the first suit, and they merged it because we felt that if evil is going to come, it's going to be from within, Laurie. So when that person turn, it comes from within. And I'm gonna bring a little bit of my, Halloween trauma. Those those things, the werewolf, those things come from within. So we said, if it's going to happen, it's going to turn from within.
Mm.
So that's how the new suit came out.
So the
And
suit is a part of
it's
Deathblade?
the armor. Yeah, the suit is the armor.
Yeah.
But it's a curse.
Ah,
It's a curse to the family. It was a demon it was a demon that had given this family, the Canes, the ability to fight evil. And they said, look, if you're going to fight evil, then you're going to have an agreement with. So they signed an agreement with this demon to fight evil, but he tricked them.
that's probably it. Yeah, signing agreements with demons generally doesn't work out
Yeah,
well.
yeah. He tricked them, and so,
Hey, great.
but he tricked them. So the sword that they have is something far more. Hey, what's up, Al?
Wait, wait,
Um, yes.
sorry.
So the suit is a lot more to it, and I'm gonna just leave it there because it's gonna flip you
Oh,
guys
I'm
out
sure.
when we show you even more.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't. I mean, like it's issue 1, so you can't give
It's
away
32
all the
pages.
things,
Yeah,
right? It's just
it's
like you
32
get to see it.
pages.
You see some of the things, and it's super cool. But like you said, you got to develop. You got to have people come back for more. So
Yeah, we
excellent.
like I said, we've had. I don't know if you had a chance to read it or not, but we've had a lot of people read it. Al, Tommy from War,
Yeah, World at
yeah,
War.
yeah, World War Comics,
Love him.
Carla for Aurora Comic Podcast. We've had some other people read it, and
Did you
the word
send it
that
to me in
came.
the email?
I thought I sent you a link to it, but if you haven't got it, I'll send it.
You sent me
Um,
a lot of things, but I don't think I got the link.
okay, I will make sure you get the
I was
link.
like, did I miss it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I
I would have
thought I'd give it
definitely
to
read
you.
it.
Yeah, but
I got all
we
your
have not
details.
got one bad word about it. Everyone has just been blown away by it.
Guys, I'm going to show some of the things. Look, look. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
That right there, that is the money shot.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
just,
this has been colored at this point?
oh
Or is
yeah.
this, yeah, I was
This
going to
was the
say,
beginning. This was the beginning of it. I didn't show
yeah,
the other part, but this is, a lot of people like to see I want people to see
yeah, the
the line
process,
work
right?
process.
I think this is super cool
Okay,
too.
now
Let's
this
talk
is
about
the
the
first
suit.
suit right there that you see. That's the first suit. What they
Yeah.
did was they took our ideal, Virginia and Ruben Alba took our vision and they came up with this and they knocked it out the park.
How
That's iconic.
cool is it to get something like this? You know what I mean? To see a
Mhm.
character pencil and then have it like 3D rendered?
Yeah,
That's badass.
yeah. They went in and here's the thing. I would say it's 3D, but they used AI from our character, and then they broke it down and they simplified it. That's how
Okay.
AI should be used.
Mm.
I
But it's
feel
still
that
your original
yeah,
idea,
yeah,
not like it came
yeah.
up with anything.
It didn't grab anyone else's. It took what I had done and they simplified it. And this is what you're going to see. Now, this is the 3D part. Now, this is the part where my art director, Aleem, comes in play. He's
Uh-huh.
the creator of The Diary of Sweet Pea that did very well last year on
Mhm.
Kickstarter. Um, I I already had an illustrator for Deathblade. So I went to Comic Con at C2 at C2E2.
C2E2? Yeah.
Um, I was there for the Heroic Awards. Kevin asked
Oh,
me to
cool.
come,
Yeah.
and so I went. And he said, "You need to go meet. You need to go meet Aline." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And of course, I didn't know Aline was from Philadelphia. Hey, I'm from Philly. I mean, he's from Philly. I'm
Cool.
from
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
yeah.
So it's just a marriage that just was destined. So we connected, and Kevin said, "Let him do something. Let him do something." I was like, "All right." I said, "All right, Kevin, I'm going to let him do a cover." So he did the cover, Laurie,
Mhm.
and the M character that you just saw, black and white M,
Yeah.
that was not his first look. That was not his first look. That was a look that, and I got to give credit to Yusuf Shittal. Remember that name.
Okay.
That guy, his line art is phenomenal.
That's awesome.
His artwork, I worked with Comic Republic out in Nigeria, but those guys over there in Africa, I don't know what's in the water.
Oh,
They are some bad brothers. I mean, they know what they're doing over there. And he took M and he just made him beautiful.
that's awesome.
I just said
Can we?
crazy.
You just sent me such cool stuff. So
Yeah.
this is like a 3D model of you're going to be making
Yes,
action figures.
this right here is
Are you
the
kidding me?
wrestling trophy of DEATHBLADE. It's not finished yet. That was one of the reasons why we kind of started late. We were trying to get this done, but as you see, when you're have so much on your plate, you're not going to get everything. But I want the audience to see this right here. That's Varen. He's going to be in issues 2 or 3.
Oh my gosh! And I was like,
He has 2 masks.
That's super cool, man.
And
What?
Well, there's a story to that, but I won't give you.
Don't spoil issues 2 and 3, man.
I won't give you the
This
story.
is just it's all really cool to see stuff like this come together.
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
this right here, these
Mhm.
are in the STL, the 3D STLs that we have in our Kickstarter. This is what you're going to be getting.
Okay.
You're going to be getting
The actual STL
DEATHBLADE.
file.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
The STL file that's on there is on there as a la carte. We have it.
Okay, so it's an add-on.
And then also you will also have access on our elite tiers where we're actually, I think one
Look
of
at
them.
that.
Yeah, that's done by Oscar Pinto. That's amazing.
Holy crap.
That's a pinup. That's amazing.
That's
that really scares you, doesn't it?
okay, here.
Now we have DEATHBLADE and we have M. You get a chance to choose for each, which one you want. But for the elite one, we only have 4 seats for that. That's 1,500. You get everything. You get everything that we have. And on this, on the STLs, these are for people who have their own STL printers, models, wrestling models that they want to create. They can do that. But also for those, hey, if you don't have one, we are going to create a list. We're talking to people who can actually make yours for you.
That's
so
cool. I was going to say have someone print and have like 4 available that people can just get the ready-made one or something.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
And we cracked, that was our first week, and we just cracked the second stretch goal.
Oh my gosh. Let's go look. Well, when did you launch EA?
April 4th.
Okay, so really it's been about and you still got plenty of time to go. So 22 days to go.
So I'm telling everyone,
long campaign.
Yeah, we did an early bird. The early bird one was this right here for your fans. This was our early bird. So
wait. I'm sorry. Let me make
this was the early bird cover here that we did.
Look at that. Woo! It's so pretty.
Yeah, I love this. Is my favorite cover.
Yeah. Cherish that.
Yes. We did an early bird one because we wanted to get the ball rolling a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's 45 days.
Gotcha.
And so we said, we gave them enough time to say, hey, if you want this, we're only doing this. We're not doing this again. So folks, it ain't happening. This is one time shot. You're not going to get this. We're not going to do foil on this again. So the next time that you will see will be the regular cover for this. But hey, it's still good. You still can't. You're still winning. But yeah, I mean, we really wanted to bring the aura of DEATHBLADE to our pledges and let them know, hey, we're really thinking about you as collectors. We're thinking about you as future subscribers for us. We want you got something. And then another one that's dearest to my heart, and I think if you scroll back down a little bit, is Comics for Troops. That is really dear to me because
where is that?
If you go down a little bit,
Is it an add-on or what section is it in?
No, it's with the tiers where it has the pictures of the different awards that we're giving, the different books.
Charity for Troops?
Yeah, Charity for Troops.
There it is.
That is big, fans. I have a lot of my family members who have served in the service.
Gotcha.
and I want to give back to that community. And so what we do is you buy a book, and then you're buying a book for a soldier.
That's cool.
And so it's $50. So whatever we get from there, from that tier, we're going to send to the comic book nonprofit organization for troops all over the world. Hey, they're securing our safety. They're giving us our freedom. So, let's support them as whole. So
Yeah. And I love that you have other, this is let's see.
Oh yeah,
These other books. This one's been unlocked, Sweet Pea, but I'm a fan of Austin St. John's. I was a Power Ranger fan when I was a kid. And I'm in Prosper area, which is really close to McKinney, where Austin is. So I've met him a couple times. And in fact, a lot of the Comic-Cons that I go to, he's a guest.
Oh, wow.
It's funny because I'm reading Red Redemption, but I get all the copies signed, but I also like casually slide him my comic book every time I see him. Like, hey, like here's the next one. So I don't know if he's actually reading it or not, but
hey, just let your fans know we already reached that tier. So everyone,
oh, cool, this one's unlocked too.
And get Warlash, and then the next tier, 4,000, is the war
Killing Machine
Killing 1 and 2.
So cool.
And one thing that I tell people, because I know some creators, they feel like it's competition. I don't think there's competition. I think there's opportunities for everyone. And I want to support as many creators as I can, and let them know, hey, hey, E.A. Brown, I'm going to buy your book. Now, there are some books that I may not buy, but that's okay.
Right. Okay. I mean,
you're not going to get everything, but
you just can't afford.
But some of the books that I do want to push, some of the books that I want the creators to know that I appreciate you and your talent. It's important. And then our story. People want to know our writer Brian Cochran. He's been a ghostwriter for a long time. He's worked for Marvel. He's worked for DC. He's worked for Scout. He's worked for quite a few publications. And it was funny, he was like, well, Ed, I'll just be a ghostwriter. I said, no, you're not. Your name is going to be on the book.
That's cool.
I'm not. No, we're not doing that. You wrote it. I sent you 300 pages.
So, like I send you a book of notes.
Yeah, which was hilarious because people ask me, how do you get your writers? Well, I use Fiverr. You see the commercial. Yeah, I've been using Fiverr for years. I've been using them for a while, and we interviewed him, and it was hilarious. He was like, well, give me a paragraph. I was like, no, dude, we're not giving you a paragraph. We already have this world drawn out. We gave him 300 pages.
So, okay, so you have 300 pages, but how is it organized? Do you have an actual story? Do you have plot? Do you have character bios?
Yep, everything. We have like a compendium. We put it together where we had the characters, we had their journey from the beginning to the end. We laid it out.
Yeah.
Me and my partner, Philip Maddox, we got it written out to exactly where we wanted to go. Now, does that mean all of that was put in the book? No. And that's one of the things that I really am proud of my team. I'm proud of Aleem. I'm proud of Chuck. I'm proud of Brian. And of course, Emmanuel's not on there. Emmanuel worked on the development side, but he also has a book. We have 3 books already done, but they won't be coming out till late next year or the following year. 26 or 27. But one of the things I like about my team, because people would think, as creators, we like to see our own tunnels. And we don't like to listen. Someone come up with something new, be like, no, that's kind of whack, whatever. We're not going to listen. But I'm not that type of person, because I believe that it's not about me. It's about DEATHBLADE. It's making sure that I deliver the best book possible so that when people read it, they're going to be like, you know what, that's great. And I will tell you what really kind of triggered that. My first Comic Con was actually C2E2. That was my first
That's
Comic Con
crazy that
ever.
that's where you start. You know what I
Right,
mean? That's
right. That was
fun.
my first one when I came, and I saw all those people, Laurie. I really freaked
Yeah.
out. I was like, you know what? You better bring it, Eddie. You better bring that, because the people in the comic book universe is not merciful, because they will talk about you if your book is whack. They will talk about you, and you better make sure you bring it. And I told I said, Kevin, I need a team.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. I'm a big proponent of I can only do so much. I know what
Mhm,
I'm good at. And I don't have the time to develop like because I this is what catches people off guard. I went to art school. I have a
mhm,
bachelor's of fine arts. I can draw, I can paint, I can
mhm.
be creative. I was never taught how to do sequential art. It's completely
Yeah,
different thing,
it
right?
is.
I
Yes.
don't have another 10 years to develop that skill again, like I
Mhm,
did high school and college. So that's why I hire an artist for my comic book. I know that my story is good and I need art that can be on that level,
and
right?
finding the
You
right
find a
person that
team.
fits right,
Yes.
the right person that fits. And like I said, I had an illustrator, but
Mhm.
he was not the right person for what I needed at the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
So when Yusuf, when Aline came and I met with him, and he did some
Mhm.
art for me, and he did it so well, Lori. I didn't have what it wasn't like if it was a matter of when I was going to let the other one go. He
Yeah.
wasn't a bad artist. He just wasn't for Deathblade.
Right. And I
Not a
mean,
bad thing.
it's hard because in the beginning you only know who you know. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because you're just getting started. And as you meet more people, like you went to C2E2, you met Kevin, they kind of open the doors for you. And then you realize there's a much bigger pool to pull from. And like you
Mhm,
said, there might be someone else that can maybe fit better. I went through, when I had first started developing as a comic book was back in 2020. And I had an artist team involved, and both it fell through because of COVID. And then I was searching, and I searched for another 2 years for the right artist. So I feel you. And it wasn't until I met Marco, but then even like time keeps going and Marco got too busy. He's so busy that and I wanted to speed up on my timeline. So again, it's like even though their style can match, life may not match.
yeah. Yeah.
So things are
And
always
it's
adapting.
okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
And um, and I would say it was the best decision that I ever made. It was painful. And that's why I tell people, you know,
Mhm.
it's okay to be the boss until you gotta go fire someone.
It's hard.
It's okay to be the boss,
Hard
but
to
when
let
you
people
gotta go
go.
say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I can't use it no more." You
Yeah.
know, believe me, I was on my knees praying to God, say, "God, give me the words to say that will be." He made it in a way where I didn't even have to do that. I just said, "Look, thank you for your time. I appreciate it," and kept it moving.
Yeah, and don't burn bridges. I mean,
Yeah,
like there's still
exactly.
ways for people to be involved if, they're willing
Yeah,
to be involved.
definitely. And I would say my team will tell you something about our team. We don't believe in yes men. There's no such thing. If you come on there and you say, "Oh, you're like everything Eddie does
What do you
is so
think? Oh,
great,"
it's great.
and then in the back of your mind, it's like, "No, I wouldn't do that. This is what I would do." I hate that.
I hate that too.
I
That's
do
how
not
my
like
team is
that.
as well. I'm like, it's not about me, it's
Right?
about the comic being the best version of itself. And
Exactly.
so I'm on a journey, you're on a journey, we're all developing our skills. And so if you see something that I can improve on, tell me.
And I would tell you, my guys, they do not hold back, and
Good.
it's not personal for me because
No.
I mean, I have said stuff where I'd be like, "Guys, I think this is really great," and then the whole team be like, "No, Ed,
But
that's kind of weird." Okay, I was like, "All right, cool."
but
I was like, "All right, that's fine." But if there's times where I feel it deals with the lore, it deals with the foundation of the story, then yeah, it's cool. But I would tell you this. I don't know if you know Chuck Pano. He works with
mhm.
Kevin.
I know
Chuck
Chuck.
is amazing. Um,
Chuck
uh,
wants to come on my other show, Killer Karen.
Chuck is great. Chuck is funny.
He
He's
has no
hilarious.
idea what he's in for.
And it was hilarious because when I hired Chuck,
Mm-hmm.
was like, he's a Ringo Award nominated,
Right.
editor, right? Whatever. So he said, Ed, you actually interviewed me. I was like, well,
I
yeah,
did.
I did. He never thought he was like, he's going to get the job. Of course, I said, no, man, I got to make sure you fit my
Yeah.
environment, make
Gotta
sure
fit the
that it
team.
fit. But
Yeah.
he did. And it was hilarious. The first time he gets on, we all get into an argument and we really be heated. And we're going back and forth
Great.
and we're trying to see, no, I think it should work this way. And then I'm thinking, I can tell you, Chuck's thinking, what did I get myself?
What did I do?
And then
Lou,
getting worse.
what's going on, Lou? I see two, but you're on two different channels.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. I was like, what is she doing? She's just having fun.
Here's the funny part about the whole thing, though.
Did Chuck question all his life choices? Did he call you later and was like, man?
He was like, but here's the funny part. He was like, after all was said and done, we all agreed and we were cool like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, that was it. I was like,
sometimes you just got to talk it through, and it's okay for people to be passionate as long as the end result is we move forward.
All that matter. That's all that matter. And I tell people, I get, people would think, some creators, they be pissed and mad if that happened, but I'm not like that. I'm just saying, hey, man, it's not about me. It's about DEATHBLADE. It's about the readers, because I'm not writing for E.A. Brown. I'm writing for future subscribers and readers for my book. And so, you have to.
Yes and no. You're still writing for you. It's your story to tell, your passion.
Yeah.
Right. But I get it. I get it. It's like
understand that there are certain things that you may think is great, may not be so great.
Right. And then when you get some feedback, it's like, you should change this. And you're like, you have a choice at that point.
Exactly.
Do you listen? And especially if the feedback is consistent. Now, not everybody gives good advice. So, I mean, that's the hard thing with indie.
I cherish those people, though. I cherish those people, though, Laurie.
Yeah.
I cherish, I have one of the OGs, is Jibba Moley Anderson from Grinded Comics. He was the first one to ever read my DEATHBLADE.
Here it is, Carrie.
He was the first one to read it, and I would say he ripped me a new one. And he was like, what is this? And I'm sitting there like, dude, I'm thinking it's cool. And here's the reason why I appreciate him so much. And that's why I say I don't believe in yes man.
Yeah.
He didn't have, most people would say, hey, good luck, leave you alone. No, he sat there and said, okay, Ed, this is how we're going to fix it. First of all, why should I care about DEATHBLADE? Who is DEATHBLADE?
Right.
Okay. As a reader, what is it that's going to catch my attention? And I'm sitting there like, he said, none of this, but this is what we're going to do. He went down and he scrolled down and he showed me where I need to do. And then he also told me, he said, Ed, you're looking at the mainstream comics too much. We've seen Superman. We've seen Spawn. We've seen Wolverine.
Right.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Give me something that's going to light a fire underneath me.
Yeah. I mean, Legacy Comics is its own thing. Let's be honest, right?
Exactly.
Because we already know the origin story. It's been revamped and revamped. So you can go in at any point and you understand Superman because you've read previous material. We don't have that with indie, but I love that about indie because you have one creator from beginning to end. It's more to me, and I'm going to use TV quotes. It's more like Breaking Bad versus Lost. To me.
Exactly. And see, that's the thing. When he told me that, the light went on for me.
Yeah.
It went on. And I was like, I get it. I understand it. And so when we went into this story, and when I partnered with Philip Maddox, we understood what the job, we understood the assignment. Now it took us 2 years.
Everybody goes up to Laurie's channel too. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Continue. You understood the assignment.
Yeah, we understood, and we got it. And I appreciate the candor of Jibba for being honest and open, and there's not a lot of people like that, because some people would
Really.
just left you out for the wolves, but he
Yeah.
didn't do that. He educated me and he showed me. And he's actually one of the few that actually has art in the Smithsonian. I don't know if it's there
Shut
now.
up.
Yeah, he's one of the few that, our current president is doing away with DEI, so he's getting rid of everything, which I think is just totally stupid. But he's one of the very few artists that he had art in the Smithsonian.
That's amazing.
And
By the way, Carrie loves your trailer, as we all do. Very
Thank
good.
you, Jared.
So.
You're gonna love the book too when you read it.
Okay. So first of all, I have a video that I want to show you because you're fresh meat. You haven't seen it before. So to me, being on the Kickstarter road is like being on the road doing shows for music. You're constantly promoting, you're constantly marketing, smiling, talking, you know what I mean? And to me, it feels like that.
Hold on. I think I'm bleeding. Am I bleeding? Ow! 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 Nose and lips! Okay, ow. Ah! No, man. Can I... Ow! Ow! Wait! Ow! Ow! Please, Mr.
Wow, that's brutal.
It's accurate.
You know what? It felt like that. It really felt like that. It
In the
felt like
beginning or now or what?
at the beginning. It was
Okay.
just like I'm sitting there like you feel like there's not enough time in a day to get what you needed to get done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you would have told me that I had to do all this work for this Kickstarter, it would have been different.
You know what
Well,
though?
I appreciate it though. I appreciate it.
It trial by fire. It really is. A lot of times, because I always tell people I do an immense amount of work setting up, preparing, scheduling, marketing, social media, in present. I'm like, I go to Comic Cons, I go to bookstore signings, I do all of these things while I am live to push, the Kickstarter. But you tell people this and they don't believe you.
Carrie in the UK.
Trial by fire. You just got to do it.
Yeah. Carrie in the UK said, "Can I read your book?"
Of course.
I'm in the UK. Yes, you can. You go to our you can go in and you can we have a digital tier. We can also send it via mail. Which is, it's kind of funny. I have
Do you do international shipping?
Yes.
Okay. That's what she wants to know.
Yes, we do. I actually it's a funny story to that. I have one of the books that is finished. It's our whole universe. It's called The Conqueror. It's the beginning of our universe.
Cool.
And the lady that created it, Lucy Shaw, is from Ireland. And
awesome.
We do a lot of, we use Temu, which is like Google, but we store all our documents and everything in it. And I sent her a t-shirt. It took her 6 months to get a t-shirt, which is crazy. But I think it was COVID we had just got out of COVID, and it was just,
I had shipped some things to Carrie, through my publisher in the UK, had shipped stuff to Carrie, and it still took forever. There was problems with like Royal Mail. Gosh, there's just, you never know. Hey, Carrie, what do you mean? How come full covers aren't shown? They're in the cover section, honey. They're right here. Here's cover A, cover B, cover C. This is a wrap cover right here.
Yep.
So they're there. And he has interiors. Sorry, I just want to make sure she knows that they're there.
Yeah, and if I think on the Kickstarter, if they have a question, can they reach us if they,
yeah, well, you would just send a message.
Right?
Yeah, they would send a message, and are you the main contact? Sorry, it does this thing. I don't need to see all that. Yes, so it would go right to EA. If you send a message to Edward Brown, it would go to EA.
Yes, it will go to me or my team.
Yeah,
on there, and if you put my name on it, they will make sure.
Carrie, sorry. All right, so here you are doing your Kickstarter thing. What would you do differently next time?
Oh, if I told you how much money I spent, I was sleeping on the couch. My wife,
Aw.
my wife was having a conniption.
I
I mean,
mean, my husband has
I
a
made some
conniption
mistakes.
too until
I
I
made,
remind him that it's tax deductible.
I made some serious mistakes, and there were I think there were beginning mistakes that I didn't
So
understand.
So give our watchers some advice because there are indie creators that are there that are like, I have a book, I'm ready to go, but I don't know what to do. So
Mhm.
just give them like avoid these pitfalls if you
I
can.
will say this: number one, put a budget together on everything that you would need for your book.
Yes.
I did not do that. That was a huge, huge miss. I mean, I if I told you how much money I spent,
Oh,
where
hey.
you would probably have me sleeping on the couch.
I probably would send you to the couch too, sir.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
like, you did
yeah,
not set a budget. You see, when I had my real job before I do
mhm,
comics full time, I was in the finance department for a
mhm,
business,
mhm,
family owned business. I learned how to run a business there. It was
right.
great. But yeah, there was always budget. There's always number crunching. So if you start and you don't have a budget, ooh,
Well, see,
couch.
well,
Go
see,
to the couch.
here's the time. I was like, honey, I got my bonus checks covered it, which I did. I have a
You're
huge
good.
check, so I was using that, and I was like, but see, my wife is more money. She's more women.
She should be your business
Yeah,
manager.
she's my business manager.
There
So
you
she
go.
goes in and she questions every little thing I do. She's like, "Why are you
Is
getting
she a
$300?"
CPA? What does she do for her job?
She's a nurse.
Oh, I mean, attention to detail. I get it.
It's attention, and I would say this. That was been one of my weaknesses. I would say that, and
You're a big picture guy.
yeah, I'm a big picture
Yeah.
guy, and that's where Philip really. That's why we really work well together. Because I'm detailed. I can be detailed, but he's really detailed. And
Yeah.
it's just like we work. But it was hilarious. I mean, when I if I tell him I spent that
You
was
don't have to.
it would not
I
no,
feel
it
bad
was over
already.
50. It was over 50. It was over 50K.
Oh my God.
And then my people was thinking, Dad, that's not an indie budget, that's a mainstream budget,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's a mainstream budget.
But I mean, I kind of got that you spent big bucks based off you're like, this guy was in Marvel or DC and this
Yeah,
guy
you
was
know,
from
yeah.
Image. And I was like, oh, okay, we did not spare expense here.
No, we didn't. And that's the thing that I was telling my wife that, and of course she's not into comic books and stuff like that. But she was like, yes, that was your bonus check, but I have plans for that bonus check.
She was like, I was going to put
And
an
I mean,
addition in the back of the
didn't
house.
I mean that was half of my bonus check. So it didn't really cause anything. So I was like, this is
Okay.
my passion, whatever. Oh, someone, what is a fat head? You know those
Yeah.
fat heads that you put on the
It's like a
wall,
poster.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what a fat head is.
It's a flat poster, but it's die cut. This is what you're talking about here. This guy.
Yes, yeah, that's the fat head right there.
So it's
Very
it's
nice.
big,
Yeah,
but it's like a
big.
poster, but it's die cut.
Yes.
They do full size ones, and my goal is to have one of Big James at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know where I would put him, but I would want to.
those fat heads I have, they are nice.
Aren't they
They're
cool?
nice. They're
I need
beautiful.
one.
They're beautiful. And I have the
Yes.
coin. The
Yeah,
coin
and so
is just there.
Lou brings up a great point. The first thing she does, because Lou is an artist, and so she says the first thing that she does is ask for a budget when she's asked for artwork, because unfortunately the budget is what the budget is, and some people can't afford the art, and so it saves time for everybody to be like, here's what's your page rate, here's what I can afford, can we meet somewhere in the middle? And if it's not achievable, then it's like, all right, move on. Save everybody time.
Yeah, the cost that I felt, I end up paying for two different artists.
Oh, okay.
I came in and one had to go, and I paid him, and then I jumped into the other one, and it kind of just
got out of
it got out of control. It got out of control to that point. And the part was I didn't have the budget. But now if you ask me now, I have my budget. I know what I'm paying for and what I can and what I won't. I will tell you one of the things that for the interior art that you guys are going to see, the phenomenal art that you've seen. Part of that cost for us was we wanted motion comics, so we're putting a motion format. There's so many layers to that. That's a lot of work. That's
Yeah.
very expensive to do. I wanted it for the whole comic.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Me, I'd be like, that's super cool, but kind of pricey. Maybe we'll do it just for like the splash page. And EA's
right,
like, do the whole thing, damn it.
exactly. So, you know, I got smarter on it. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do for the whole thing. There's certain things that I want the motion, but that's organizing and making sure that you have everything in line. I thought I had everything in line, but I'd be honest with you, I didn't. You know, this was my first one. I didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, like for for a high cover art, you're paying $800
Yes.
pop.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
You know, are there some that you may not pay as much?
Yeah.
It depends on what it is that you're looking for.
And
You know, for us, you know, being that we were new, you
it's
know,
hard.
it's all about
hard.
credibility, because I
Yes.
want people to see, hey, this guy is really serious. He's not playing. I'm not playing, folks. I'm very serious about being here for the long haul. We're here for the long haul. I'm not here for no short haul. I'm very serious about comic books. I'm very serious about stories, and it's important for us. But I will tell you, the amount of money that I spent on this book, I could have probably did 3-4 books.
You probably could do a lot more.
Yeah, a whole lot more.
If I told you my budget, you would be surprised. Carrie says, shipping price, all I have to say is you have an international backer at in a non-flirty way. A huge mwah, sir.
Thank you very much, Carrie. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My wife is my agent. She just tell everybody, let them know. My wife is my agent. That's she said. She said, you don't have no agent. I'm your agent. So I said, my wife is my agent.
Yeah.
Cool.
My husband is my very non-interested agent. He's just like, do your thing. We're married.
It's okay. It's okay because when the money comes in, like I told my wife, it was funny because when, you know, as my career began to build into IT, I wasn't, you know, when you're young in your 20s, I wasn't making as much, but then my career just like went.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then the money comes in, and then, you know, for me, I was traveling and I was never home.
Yes, that
so
sucks, man.
Yeah, it just sucked because my wife was pregnant, and we moved here to Atlanta when she was pregnant with my first daughter.
Oh my!
My first daughter, and I was traveling. I was traveling a lot,
Oh.
and my mother-in-law came in and stayed.
Okay, I was going to say, do you have family in Georgia?
I do have family in Georgia, but you know, I didn't know them as much as I knew my family up north.
Gotcha.
And then I eventually, you know, we began to realize, oh, my cousin is only like
right around the corner
miles from my house.
Okay, nice. But that's where it's like, now we need to make friends.
Exactly. And then, you know, of course, you know, they know my father. A lot of people, it's just kind of funny. My family, I'm a twin as well. I have a twin.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, he's a software developer for the government. He's total opposite of me.
I was like, choose your words wisely, because he might actually tune in to see what you're saying about him.
He's totally opposite of me. Now his wife is different. We all went to college.
So you are fraternal twins?
Identical twins.
Oh, you're identical, and you're so different. Wow.
Yeah, we're totally different. Our mom tried to dress us up together and
similar,
did not. I hated that. I did not like that at all. I was like, that is not working.
Oh, okay. Yes, Carrie.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, but it's you know, from that beginning and from that source of what we're, you know, really trying to do. It's just that I learned so much, and I will tell you, when put a budget together, put a plan together, and also find a mentor. Find a mentor to work with you.
Amen to that. Find someone that has done what you're trying to accomplish, right? Don't just pick a random person. Find someone that has actually done it and pick their brain. Because if someone hasn't done it, how are they going to give you advice to get to somewhere where they haven't gotten there yet?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, and it's nothing against them. Just find the people that have done it hopefully they are willing to answer your questions. We
Right.
all
And
start somewhere.
no yes men.
No
No
yes
yes
men.
men. Do
I'm
not,
with you.
no yes men at all. Do not
Right.
do it. Because I tell you this, Laurie.
Well, you won't grow.
No, you will not grow, and you will not have seen what you've seen today. That would
Right.
not have, I would not have been nowhere close. And I'm saying it
And you're
100%.
just getting started. That's what's exciting to me is this
Yes.
is your start, because a lot of us, we start and then of course we grow. That's what's expected, but this is your starting point. That's amazing.
You know,
And
I
we're going to
just,
be watching you to see where you go.
well, like I said, I think one of the advantages that I guess a cheat sheet was Kevin.
Kevin, yeah.
Like Kevin was a cheat sheet. I ain't gonna lie.
No, Kevin is a
He
great
was a cheat
resource. He has
sheet.
worked with so many
Yeah, he's
people.
worked with someone. And I know I drove him crazy because I'd be like, he would say something. I'm like, no, I'm not sure I want to do that. And he would get upset. And he was like, you're not. I was like, Kevin, I don't know, man. You asking me something. And I may say no, but I don't know that no doesn't mean no forever. You know what I'm saying? I could be saying, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll be like, I'm not sure about that, but whatever. But the thing is, find a mentor, find someone that you can work with, find someone who is not just going to just take your money and then, say, hey, like I had a person who I asked to be an editor for us. Before I got Chuck. Okay. And I asked him to really tell me about the book. Tell me what you see. Don't just edit it for just misspellings or things like that. I want to really see what you see. So we go in. He says, I'm done. And then I said, okay, cool. And then after he's done, he says, well, I wouldn't have done that. There's some things I would have never done. And I'm looking back at him like, why did you not put this in the thing and say all this?
Yeah.
Immediately I knew that I could not trust him. That he could not work for me. Because immediately I knew I needed some people that were going to give me tough love. And I was going to say, hey, Ed, this is what you need. This doesn't work. This is how it's done. And that's where Chuck came in, and Chuck is beautiful.
Yeah, Chuck is great for that.
Chuck is great.
And I don't always give people feedback unless they ask me, because some people just want to hear like it's great.
No, I'm not that type of person.
I'm not that type of person either, but I don't ask for feedback from everybody. I ask specific people that I know I can trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like George Medina, who was here on the show earlier, is another letterer, and I always put stuff past him. I'm like, I don't really know how trying to make this bubble and that. Does it make sense? And he'll always be honest with me, like this, what if you switch it this way or finagle, whatever. But I don't, I have friends that are writers. I have friends that are letterers. I have friends that are artists, and I'll ask them specific questions based off of their skills. I just don't go to my mom and like, what do you think, Mom? She's going to be like, it's great, honey.
Exactly. And then you go there with a messed up front cover. Everybody's like, who's that?
It's beautiful. And they put it on the fridge with magnets.
It's kind of like telling like the king is naked, but telling him you got clothes on.
Beautiful, beautiful clothes. Lou, this is interesting too. I've done this before as well. When I show art to people, I'm not listening for a compliment because I'm looking for the initial reaction.
Thank you.
Genuine part of the feedback from me. 100%. And this is how I gauge people is with my issue number 1. When they read issue 1 and they talk to me about it, that's how I know, if they're reacting to the things that are going to happen in my story.
Yes, someone read your story or they're BSing.
Right. Exactly. Or they haven't even opened it because they're like, it's great. And I'm like, I killed a main character in the first book. No,
about it?
Nothing.
Oh, it's great. It's great. No,
it's great.
Yeah, I do not.
You're not human because you should be having feelings of anger at me at this moment. No.
Right. It's kind of funny too because when we create a book, for horror books, you're not supposed to have splash pages. Well, folks, we broke the rules. Okay.
I didn't know that was the rule.
Yeah, you're not really horror horror don't really have splash pages.
Whatever. I have splash pages. It's
We
fine.
went up there and we
I got a
just
double
wrote it.
splash in my
Yeah.
issue 4. It's
We
a
went
double.
up there and we just
Yeah.
wrote it. We didn't go splash page happy, but it was going to be, if I'm going to do a splash page, it's a monumental. It's something that's important that I really want to understand why this is happening and why, what this is. So those are some of the things that I have definitely learned. And there are some things that, some people will say, Ed, you're a risk taker. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And, like you had a person die in the first.
Well, I didn't say person. I didn't say person.
But my thing is, I'm that type of person though, Laurie. If I did have someone that someone like, I would kill them off just to piss you off. I would do that.
We just became best friends.
I would do that. I mean, that's just. I would do it.
I have this lovely. It just says, I drink the tears of my readers. If you start having feelings that you like somebody in my book, dead. Immediately dead.
It's just like the show. What's the show on HBO Max now? Among Us. That just came out. It's about the vampire apocalyptic whatever.
Say again?
I played the game.
The Last of Us? No,
The Last of Us.
That's
they killed off Joel. I was pissed. But I knew it was going to happen.
Say again?
They killed off Joel. Yeah, Joel.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if you play the video games, right?
But they saved them to the second season. And,
but that's how it okay, so it was true. It was a true adaptation.
Yes, it was.
You play the first game. That was the first game. And then the second game is when Joel bites the dust. And that was accurate. So it's not like they should have done it at the end of one. Like it was accurate. We knew it was coming.
But you wasn't ready for it. You still wasn't ready for it.
No. I mean, we knew it was coming. And like, it's the same thing with Walking Dead. Like we knew when Negan showed up that things were going to get effed up. Right. We knew, but we didn't know because we didn't know if they were going to change it. At least Last of Us, we knew they were going to be accurate to the story. But like Walking Dead, when they killed Glenn, so many people stopped watching the show. And I was like, you're kidding me. Like, this is accurate to the story. It's not like they changed.
Yeah, they didn't read the comic book.
No.
So, I mean, and I didn't think that people were depressed. They were just like boycotted. I was like, you guys, really?
No, you can't.
I'm that type of guy, and it's kind of funny because, Philip and me, we argued. I said, kill him off, man. He's like, what? I was like, dude, I want to get behind it.
That was his journey. It was complete. You know what I mean? Like he started out not caring. He became this mentor for this lost child, right? Risked his life for her. And now it was her chance to grow in the story. The story's about her. Right? So Joel had to go. So she could be on her own.
Right. I don't know. And, I'm definitely looking forward to it. The only thing that I hate about it, that I miss about COVID, I used to binge like crazy.
Yeah, we always binge.
I hate waiting a week. I understand why they do it.
Yeah. Well, it was like TV shows on, we used to watch every week on TV.
Yeah, but
speaking of family time, right? We would watch the TV shows on Friday nights. We would sit around the TV and have pizza or sub sandwiches on our little TV dinner trays. And I loved that. We would watch.
Then, for us, it was Sundays when I was young, Disney and Omaha, and you watch everything on there. I mean, families watch it forever. It's not like that anymore. Of course, I don't like watching stuff my daughter, kids be watching. I'd be like, yo, you guys kind of got me a little bit freaked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, people want to know the type of writer. I want to be unpredictable. You don't even know what's coming.
I'm just laughing because Lou's talking about me cackling, crossing off characters, and nobody is safe in my story. And I have been telling everybody issue number 7 is my favorite. And if you know anything about me,
spoiler alert.
And we're there. Like, we're wrapping up 6. 6 is going out. This week I'll be shipping them out. And so we're at 7. And so when she says cackling and killing off characters, you ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Oh man. You and I would love to collaborate with you because I know people would be pissed.
There's nobody. You just get to the end, everybody's dead. That's what happens. Ed and I killed everybody. Oh, it's a series, but nope, everybody dies. Sorry.
But that's the beauty of this storytelling, and I love it. And it's funny because I sit there and I tell a story, and my mom just be sitting there like, "Wow, just really."
She looked at me and she was like, "You've always been this way," and I'm like, "What does that mean?"
And I sit there and tell her, and the thing I said, "Mother, if I told you a bad story, you would not know. You would not know because you're so tuned into." Now, my father is totally different. He would say, "Son, that's whack. Don't ever do that." But I think one of the things also I'm going to tell people too, the book is in 17. It's violence / there is a sexual moment.
Okay. Just so people know what they're getting into.
They know what they're getting into. But it's one of the things that, and I'm glad I brought this up. One of the things that I was telling Kevin, because Kevin calls it TNA, but I told him, I said, Kevin, I want to be as realistic as I can because I feel that as humans, we are sexual in nature, but it's how you tell it. Now,
exactly it.
I am not going to use my women characters as sex symbols. That is not.
Yeah, not your agenda.
That is not my agenda. No,
yeah.
It's not. It's not my agenda. I want strong women, and you're going to see the women. They are major players in in this journey, and you're gonna be excited about it. Now, some people will say, "Well, how come you didn't show that part?" Because I didn't feel that it was a monument moment, and I would never show it.
And here's the thing:
I don't think that it needs to be shown. It's natural.
There's so many other books where that is the focus of the book, especially on Kickstarter, right? Where that's their thumbnail, that's the focus of their book. And if that's not your focus, then I wouldn't lead with that. I'm with you. Where it's like it's in the book, but it's not the only thing that's in the book, and it's part of the story.
Exactly.
So I understand that.
Yeah, if it's not part of the story, don't have no need in there. We're not doing that. I'm not degrading women in any way like that. I find that degrading, and I just don't find that appeasing. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want people to understand about Skull Valley Comics is that you're going to see some really amazing characters, and my characters are not all powered up. They can die. They get hit, they get hurt. We're not using the Superman syndrome.
Yeah.
We're not using that. That just, to me, that defeats the whole purpose. That's the reason why they keep rebooting Superman.
To me, that's boring. How do you grow?
Well, see, I think that's part of the originality that they like. The new Superman that's coming out, they didn't have to reboot him.
No.
They didn't reboot his story. Now he's telling a different story. But my thing is, the problem with Superman is that you can't tell a story by himself. That's what they are basically saying.
That's sad.
Now,
character can't stand on his own.
Well, here's my thing. The Superman I grew up with, Christopher Reeves, was basically simplicity. And he did get hurt.
Yeah, he did.
He did get hurt.
The Kryptonians. Oh, Pops Van Zandt popping in. Hi, this is E.A. Brown. E.A. Brown, that is Pops Van Zandt.
Oh, Mr.
He
Brown.
is a producer of the network.
I know she's about to.
I was going to say, I got about 5 minutes left. So,
she's about to cut everybody out. So I have to come here and extend an invitation to you, my friend. Look, this looks really good. I love it. We have a Facebook group called Madness what did I change it to?
Madness Entertainment Group?
Yeah, the Madness Entertainment Group on Facebook. And it is a networking and promotions group. And I encourage you to drop your link at least once a day over there.
I will. I will.
We also have a bunch of other shows, and I think I know a couple other people that might want to talk to you. Okay, like Monday Madness maybe next week in the afternoon. If you're available, hit me up. Yeah, we got other shows, a lot of other shows in the network, and I love, and I'm sure a few of these other people would love to get you out and talk to you some more before this thing's over.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate. Hey, thank you for even inviting me. I'm just honored to have that opportunity. I'm humbled, and I'm just, I'm just a creator, and it's like I always tell people. Yes, I'm a nerd. It's okay.
Join the club.
Hey, I'm a nerd. Hey, I was a dressy nerd, so hey, it didn't really bother me. It didn't really bother me.
Even as mad as I am with what they've done with all of our childhood loves,
yes,
I still love my childhood love just the way he was then, right?
Exactly. That's why I tell her, I said, I tell my children, they still don't believe that we had black and white television. It just doesn't resonate to them. They're sitting there like, what? So hey, it's all good, but I definitely enjoyed my time. And
that's me on Facebook right there.
Okay.
If you want to shoot me a friend request, we can talk
I
later.
definitely
Get out
will.
And let Laurie in the show.
Yeah, get off my show.
Great to meet you, my friend.
Bye.
Great to meet you as well. Thanks.
Let me get my Karen wig out. Anyway.
But thank you again.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I just want your audience to know that, we're really serious about what we're trying to do. And I'm all indie. If someone asked, I never told you my dream job was to work at Marvel. Cool. That was my dream job growing up. I thought, man, I'm going to work at Marvel. Now, if you tell me that, no way. I'm not working.
Not anymore. Now the dream is to do this, to do it on your own, to be independent, make my own deadlines, hire my own team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Surround yourself with people that are as passionate as you are. Pops, I didn't kick him off. He left himself. I didn't boot him this time. I promise.
But also,
I boot him off the other side. I'm not gonna boot you now.
But also, I do want to tell people this T-shirt I have was Ultraverse Comics was our first name before Skull Valley, cool. And our legal team, our attorney, our legal attorney David, who's no longer with us, he died a couple of months ago. He had a heart attack and died.
So sorry to hear that.
Called me and said, "You can't use that. That's a French company. You can't. They were Ultraverse, not comics, but." He said, you can't use it. You have to come up with something totally different. So we came up with Skull Valley, and it's actually the name of a town in Arizona.
Shut up.
Yeah. Which I thought was really cool.
That's awesome.
That was cool. So
you have to make a pilgrimage and go and take a picture.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
I have that on my bucket list too. There's a town in my story called Santa Claus, which is the real place. What? Well, there's more than one Santa Claus town, but the one that I'm referencing is in Arizona. So I have a pilgrimage to take too. Need to go to Santa Claus, Arizona.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to go. And it's a nice little town. I'm definitely going to go check out Skull Valley and Skull Valley, Arizona. And I think there's one in California too.
See, that's what happens.
So,
Beautiful. Well, EA, it is the part of the show where you tell everybody how they can follow you on social media, where they can go to get more information and follow your journey.
Well, there's several ways you can follow me. You can go to our Instagram at DEATHBLADE AWK, or you can go to our Skull Valley Comics on Instagram, and we have our website, which is Skull Valley Comics, but we're about to premiere a whole new website. Cool. So if you want to reach out to me, that's the best way to reach out. We also have our Facebook group that we just started. It's DEATHBLADE AWK, and you can go there and reach out to me. If you do send a message to us through Instagram, you will be received, and it will come to me, and I will answer.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being on the show.
And check out the Kickstarter.
Yes, please. Obviously, everybody, Kickstarter campaigns, any crowdfunding campaign is the most important time for indie creators. It ensures that we can continue to make an excellent product, print you on, high quality paper, to get all the cool things, the bells, the whistles, the merch. So please, if you're going to go somewhere first, go to the Kickstarter and back this project, and then go follow all the socials.
Right there.
Need I say more?
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for having me. I really had a good time.
Good. I'm glad.
And thank your followers as well.
Yeah,
and
everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
I can't wait to show you guys the new outro. This is not it. This is not the new outro, but I'm working on it. So you'll see it soon. So be excellent to each other. Kiss your babies. And we'll see you all next week here on the Tuesday Morning Brew. Bye.
All right.
On the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe.